because she's pretty much gone over the key points, really, of what's important and how you ask questions and when you want to ask questions and that type of stuff. So I thought it'd be really good to actually just take this time and do role playing, because that's something that we all hate. Nobody likes it. Well, I mean, if you do, let me know, because you'd be the only one. But we always talk about doing it all the time, and we never actually do it. So I thought, why not? Because we've touched on all the key points of it, so we can just kind of work on it with each other. So instead of just like picking random situations, I'd like for you guys to think of an actual situation that you've been in, that you've used high-yielding questions. Tell us the story of what happened, and then we can kind of tweak it. You know, we can kind of talk about how to make it, how we could have made it better, or, you know, different. Maybe had a different outcome.
Well, my only example, I have a good outcome. I had a chiropractor that used to be a PSP participant with me, and then she decided that she was going to retire from being a chiropractor, and then went full-time being a Juice Plus distributor, and it just kind of dwindled away. Lately, she's got back into being a chiropractor again, and I asked her just to catch up with her what was going on, and she said, I don't have time to do nutrition stuff with my patients. And so I asked her, I can't remember all the questions I asked her, but I finally got around to, would you like to give nutrition information to the patient? She said, oh, yes, but I just don't have time. So since she didn't have time, I asked her, would she like me to be her wellness coordinator again? And she was really happy about that. And so I just got the paperwork here I'm working on now to send to her and get started again. So I had decided I was just going to call her and ask what was going on, and one thing led to another. And so I think this training has really helped me, because I kind of pulled information from her, and I like the way it came out.
That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. So you found her need as to what she was looking for in you.
Yeah.
You pointed it out, but you did point it out, but you asked her if that's what it was specifically, you know, yeah. Instead of just assuming, you kind of reiterated it back to her and made sure that that's what she was looking for. So very good. That's awesome.
So I don't know if I'd have done that. I had not got on here and started listening to you guys again. It got me kind of fired up to go try it.
Yeah. Well, good. See, Gary, you're really good at asking questions and talking to people. I just don't think you have the confidence to know that you're as good as you are.
That's probably true. Because, you know, I told you last week, I go brain dead sometimes. I'll start sometime and I want to jump in. You know, we talked about not doing that.
Yeah. And
then I don't know where to go. So
yeah.
The hip pocket questions is going to work.
I think the part of that I've found is that it's, you want to jump in. What was I going to say? See, I lost my train of thought. It probably is a little bit fear-based, the anxiety of talking to people and going, oh my gosh, you know, like, where is this conversation going to go? But the more you have those conversations, the easier it becomes to not want to jump in. You actually, because when I talk to people, I feel like sometimes I want to ask them more questions, and I should probably stop and get into Juice Plus instead, because I just get so involved in the conversation. I get excited to learn about it and talk to them, and so it's kind of like flip-flopped, you know, like I ask them too many, you know, so I think it's just the amount of times you have those conversations is what's going to get you past that. So just making it, you know, intentional to have them like you used to when you used to come to these trainings, you know, when you were really comfortable with it. Just get yourself out there again and have them. And even if you're practicing, I know you are working at Buc-ee's, but that's an excellent time just to practice conversations. I know you're stocking shelves and stuff, but you can just talk to people, ask them some questions.
That's what I'm doing. Of course, I can't bring up Juice Plus, but I've been using that as an opportunity, because somebody wants to find something, and while I'm walking them around, I start talking to them.
Good.
And it's amazing, some of the information. So I'm getting more and more comfortable talking to strangers because of that. Mm-hmm. So the environment isn't the kind that we have normally to get into a Juice Plus conversation, but at least it's an environment where I can talk to people and build my confidence in doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. Good for you. What about you, Stacy? Have you had any conversations?
Yeah, I think, well, my biggest take home from this series has been really just limiting it to 5 questions, because I am totally opposite of that. And have all this knowledge. I'm going to tell you all about it. And just, when we've talked about talking somebody into it, and then I've talked people out of it so many times because I have all this information in my head and I have to get out. So this series has been really good for me in that aspect.
Yeah. So you and Kristen can relate then, because you just want to like throw up everything on them. Yeah. That's great. So have you had any specific conversations lately that?
Yeah. And I'm like, I even do it on texting. I'll be in this text, and I'll get them intrigued and even get them to want to see the business card. And then I'm like, oh, and then I send them the business card, and then I want to send them even more. And then I just have to tell myself, stop. They have the business card. They accepted the business card. Stop.
Yeah. And that, the nice thing is once they become a customer though, you can use that information for when they become a customer,
right.
And just like sporadically, just every now and then send them like, hey, I was listening to this today, or I came across this, or whatever, you came to my mind, and you just send it to them, so you can still use that knowledge and that information. Just the right timing.
Right.
But Alicia and I were talking today, actually. She had I like the name of it. It was Smoothies and Success. So everybody made their own smoothie, and we sat down and talked about the business. But it was just me and Alicia and Paige, and then Paige had a guest and I had a guest. And, we were talking about it, and it was like, God, we used to talk to everybody about the research all the time. Yeah. And I think that's why our conversations were so long with people, is because we weren't just sharing our story. We were like jumping and diving into all this research, feeling like we needed to know every single one of them. Now I don't even know how many we have. The research I know that we have is what we had almost 5 years ago, because I was talking about it then. But any of the new stuff, I'm like, I really would have to go look that up to know for sure what it is, because I just don't say it all the time. So I'm thankful we're out of that, because a lot of that happened. We would talk people into it and talk them out in the same conversation all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can all relate to that.
You said that, because I was talking about the dental research with a newer distributor this week, and because they know someone that's a dentist, and I was saying, bring up that study, the periodontal study, and I was trying to explain it, and it's been so long since it used to just roll off my tongue. I was like, they have the space between their teeth. Like, I couldn't remember the verbiage. But yeah. It's a good thing that we don't talk research all the time. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have so many more tools now. There's so many more videos that people have made, doctors and stuff, about those specific things. I mean, it used to be, we had hour webinars that that was it. We didn't have these little clips and stuff like that. And so it was like, we'd share that kind of stuff with people, and I don't know why. But anyway, we did it. And so you did, because you watched those hour webinars and you shared them with people. You did, like, that information just like slipped right off your tongue. But anyway, so that's funny. What about you, Janice? Have you had any specific conversations? I mean, we can make some up, but it's a lot more fun when we have specific ones.
I know. I'm trying to think of, I have this week, I'm just drawing a blank on like the details of any specific ones. One thing I saw on Facebook that I was kind of racking my brain today of how to get my foot in the door here. So there's a gal who's I've been friends with for years since my kids were little and she's on Facebook, and her son, who's in high school, had an appendectomy over the weekend. And so she, posted pictures and stuff. And the thing is, they took Juice Plus like years ago. Her husband loves Juice Plus. He still takes it, but she doesn't take it. This is so opposite of the norm. But she won't take it. She never really has and never was interested. And the kids say they don't like the gummies and they don't want to swallow a pill. She's kind of the naysayer of the whole thing, and she just doesn't know enough to enforce her kids taking it. And I so desperately, it's like an appendectomy. It's like those kids need nutrition.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I want to send her a private message, but I'm just trying to figure out how do I open the door without offending her or making her feel like, oh, here comes Janice again. Don't talk about Juice Plus. Because we have many, many, many times over the years,
Right. I would just make it more personal. Just send a private message and see how they're doing and see how she responds. That's what I would do. Because people that I've even talked to about Juice Plus before, it's like I see, they're in the ER again because their kids are sick again, And so for me, what I would do is I would just send her a message and just make it personal this time. And then just go back and forth with her a few times, just how are they doing? Wait till she responds. I've been thinking about you, that kind of thing. And then in like a week or so, just say something, I know we've talked about this before, but you've truly been on my heart, and the kids have been on my heart since, everything happened last week, but it's given it some time. It's not like I'm going to come at you and throw Juice Plus at you. I'm going to build that relationship again, know that I'm here as a friend, and then later on in a week or two, just say, I can't help but come back at you and, see if you've given Juice Plus a thought for the kids, not even to her, but, seeing kind of where they are if they start taking it to help, prevent something like this from happening again.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's funny because that's what I would tell. How I can think of verbiage for my team easier than I can think of verbiage.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do it all the time.
And I'll just send her a message and say, I want to see how Chris is doing.
Yeah.
And maybe even just say, my appendix ruptured when I was in my mid-20s. I know how awful that is.
Yeah. Yep.
And just stop. That's the hard
Just
part.
relate to her. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And you're like, I just want a bit. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was a good one. Yep. Awesome.
I had a current distributor, but she's not active. And I got on the phone with her this week and was talking to her. And I remembered that she said she wanted to make $600 a month to pay for some training for her one daughter. And that was some time ago. And fortunately, I made some notes. So when I called her back, and I asked her, I said, would you still be interested in that $600 to do this with your daughter? And she says, and we talked about what it was, and I forget the training. I think the child is an autistic child, and so she's looking for some special training. And she said, yeah. And so I'm looking on the wall here, and I said, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it for you to make it? And she thought and thought, and she says, probably a 7. And so I pursued a little bit. Well, it turns out she's got some very personal reasons why she can't do the business right now. But at least I got to that point.
Yeah.
And now I got to work with her to figure if there's a workaround to this issue that she has. I won't share that with you, but at least I got into asking that question. And it felt good.
Yeah.
And I just sit there and let her think.
That's a good idea, Gary, to have them right there printed out in front of you.
Yeah, I have it hanging.
Excellent idea.
You want to see it? I'll turn it around.
Yeah. to have in your office, or especially with like these Facebook, messages and stuff like that. That's really easy if you just have it, I'm like, oh, let me go look it up real quick and see if there's just have it convenient, have it right there for you.
Yeah, see.
And that's one that's awesome. That's one Alicia uses all the time. She actually just sent me a message about somebody, and she said she was asking me my thoughts on their conversation. And so that was her question, on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you about this? I was like, wow, that's so good.
That is a good question, because it helps you calibrate where the thinking is of the people.
Right.
If they say 2 or 3, well, it's something they like to do. It's like,
right.
But they're never going to really do anything about it.
Right. Exactly.
And Gary, when she said 7, if I remember right, 7 is sort of the magic number, right? If they're 8 or higher, then like they're committed. 7 is a little wishy-washy. 6 or 4, like it's not worth necessarily pursuing because they're not very committed to it.
Right.
Yes. They're on that borderline.
Yeah.
But at least I got to ask the question, and I like the way it went. So.
Yeah, and it helps you get to the reasons, the underlying reason, whatever's standing in the way.
Right.
But I wouldn't have done that had it not been last week getting on here and listening to you guys. So this is really helpful for me.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I had to report tonight. Remember you said.
That's right.
That's why we don't have a lot of people
conversations have you had?
Tally up.
Okay, so that was 2, Gary. You need to have at least 3 more. I'm just kidding.
Well, I'll have to keep track of the ones that I do at Buc-ee's. See if I can get somebody that I talk to.
So in your conversations that you're having there, obviously you're not bringing up Juice Plus, but can you feel yourself, if you were able to, like if that was a situation where you were at Starbucks or something like that, do you feel comfortable to get to that point to bring Juice Plus up?
Now that's a good question. I don't know I have an answer.
So think about that. Like when you're talking to people, like you're having these conversations, you're becoming more comfortable with them. So pull yourself to that point to where you would bring it up if you could.
That's good. Okay, yes, I'll do that. That'll give me a goal, because putting stuff on shelves gets a little boring.
Yeah.
And I'll have something as an added incentive whenever somebody comes up and asks me where something is.
Yeah. Well, you'd be surprised. I think conversations will start happening like organically, that where they'll probably ask you, like, because you're going to end up in a health conversation, right? So they'll probably say, well, what do you take? And you can just tell them, you're not going to like take their number, that kind of stuff. But there's a possibility that they might say something like, oh yeah, tell me how to find out information like that. So it's just be organic. It's not like you're going out there selling the product, The
boss said there was a form I had to sign that said you cannot be a sole proprietor. And I said, no, stop, and told them. And they said, well, it's health food. We don't sell health food here, so it's not a problem. But you can't talk to people about it unless they ask you a question.
So there you go.
So what I have to do is work them around.
Yeah, there you go. You're going to become a pro, and you're going to be doing a 3-week training on how to
there you go.
flip the conversation.
I really like, a side note, I really like Zoom and this feature, because it's like sitting in the room together, and except we're sitting at home in comfort, and we don't get to have the little snacks that we used to back when I first started with you guys.
Yeah, Stacy, we used to do weekly trainings, and everybody would bring, be around lunchtime, so everybody would bring food. So we'd have a little potluck, and then we would do a training, and then kind of a little bit of work. So it was fun.
It was fun.
Back in the day.
Yeah. Stacey, that would be a very long commute from.
I know.
Yes, it would be for you. But you can create it there.
I'm in Wyoming.
Oh, you're in Wyoming.
Yeah.
That's another nice thing about this Zoom. We don't have to be local. We can be scattered all over and still get together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I have a question for you guys. This isn't necessarily high yielding questions, but So we've been doing these Facebook parties, these 3-day Facebook parties, and they're going well. I mean, I've had several. But we need to figure out like I'm going to ask you guys, because this is what Alicia asked me tonight. If somebody, you know, like one of the posts on the pricing, you know, like how much does it cost? It's, you know, less than $2.50 a day. And some people won't just do the math, right? But if somebody asks you on there in the comments, how much is Juice Plus, what would you say?
I think I would be pretty straightforward and say it's $71.25 per month, and you're getting, like, I don't just leave it at that ever, even when someone asks in person. You're getting 30 different fruits and vegetables for about $2.50 a day.
Yeah. Okay.
But I would answer. I always feel like when someone asks about the price, or even sometimes in our One Simple Change events, when like
Right.
I would often kind of say it's $2.50 a day, I feel like that's skirting the price.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, with my engineering background, I'm afraid I would probably tell them what the price is per month. But I'd go into, like you said, Janice, that it's, you know, 30 fruits and vegetables every day, and it works out to $2.38 a day or whatever. But just saying $2.38 a day sounds like you're avoiding the question to me.
Right. Well, no, I agree. And I've never been really, like, if somebody asks me the price, I usually tell them anyway. So that's how I would answer it. I was just curious on y'all's standpoint, what you would say. They're both engineers, Stacy. They're both men. They both have men's minds. But I've always thought that too. Like, I feel like I'm telling them that, but I don't feel like I'm giving them all the information. I mean, because I'm not going to calculate that in my head. Okay. I'm trying to think of some of my conversations, like you, Janice. I know I've had them, but I'm trying to think of details as to how the conversation went. Oh, this guy yesterday, I do want to ask you guys about this because he was very, very chatty. I saw him at Sprouts, and I had millet, and I was buying it, and he said, oh, is this millet? He said, what do you do with it? And before I could answer, he starts telling me something else, right? So he starts telling me that he buys like the 50-pound bags of millet because he does something, I don't know. Like, he was talking so fast and so much information that it was like, plus I was trying to check out, and I had the kids, and I was trying to like pay attention to him to have this conversation. I mean, really nice guy, but just full of information. And so he was talking, and so then I just, I told him, yes, what it is and what I do with it. And I said, have you ever had it before? And he said, no, I've never eaten it before. I never really thought about that. Something about irrigation or something that he was talking about, because it grows really fast. And I said, what did I say after that? I was trying only to, I did only ask him questions other than answering what we do with millet. That's the only thing I answered. And then everything else was a question to him. You know, oh, have you tried, do you guys eat quinoa or, you know, and I listed a couple, and he said, yeah, he said, we do. We went gluten-free about a year ago. And I said, oh, that's fantastic. What made you decide to go gluten-free? He said, well, actually my son, he has ADD. And there's a lot of talk that he's doing in between this too, you know? And so, I had quite a bit of stuff for Sprouts, and he was still talking as I'm like, so I could never get to like actually talk to him. And I was trying to figure out afterwards, I should have done something different to be able to like control the conversation and take over the conversation. But I didn't. I let him control the conversation. And so it got to the point to where he told me his son had ADD, and like a week after making changes, you know, his wife, you know, the teachers were writing letters home saying, you know, this is so great. Your son's behavior is so wonderful, and all of these things. And I was even going to ask him, because one of the, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but like one of the diets that people do is the Feingold diet. And so I typically ask people if that's what they do. And like, I couldn't even get to that point. So pretty much I'm talking about his son. Then it was like, he was almost done checking out of his stuff. And so I just kind of said, that's wonderful. Just keep it up. You're doing a great job. I'm so happy your son's doing better. And I said, have a good day. And I left. But I was so mad at myself because I was like, he could have been an excellent prospect. You know, his mind's already there, but he's still looking to make changes. And I didn't do anything. So do you guys have any thoughts on what I could have done to control it, or what I could have said differently?
With somebody like that is so chatty, I mean, it sounds like you were asking questions, which is usually how you control the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But I've run into those people that they're so almost flighty, like they're just talking and they go all the way around the world to get back, you know. And I don't know that, I mean, maybe at the very end, just kind of jumping in there and saying, you know, I've really enjoyed this conversation. You know, I know of something, or I have something that might interest you, and just offering to send him your mobile business card, just kind of throwing it out there. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
yeah, no, that's good. Just saying that I've enjoyed this conversation. That little bit would have made a difference. You know, like, I've enjoyed this conversation. That's simple. Yeah, I could have done, instead of being frustrated, I could have said that. Maybe I'll run into him again.
with your kid, you've already checked out your kids, and my hat is off to you for having that much of a conversation.
Okay, I'll keep that in the back of my mind. Good. Awesome. All right. Can you guys think of anything else? It's been 30 minutes. I don't want to keep everyone on too long, but.
I think that's all I have.
Okay.
Yeah, I just had 2 to report on. How many are we supposed to report on next week?
Well, we're hoping, Janice, I think we're going to have a guest speaker next week. It's the weekend before conference. And so we're going to have someone jump on, and then I think the week after that, we'll do a conference wrap up for all those that were not there. And then after that, we'll have another series. Not sure what that is yet, but
Okay.
another series like this. So it'll be good. I'm excited. I think we kind of decided that these series are good. You know, give yourself, Jennifer Myers, that one that she did, it just kind of, you know, it made I think a lot of people participated in it or could keep up with it. And like you guys have said, you've gotten things out of it, and you're able to, I feel like when you have something like that, then you're able to actually practice it and utilize it more than if it's just one, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, and you totally forget about it. But this, you're reminded of it every week. And you do, like you said, Gary, I have to make sure I check in and let you know what conversations I had. And that kind of stuff we all learn from. I mean, I think those personal experiences make all the difference in the world, because that's what we're all running into all the time. So learning little tidbits from each other is good.
Yeah.
I think that really helps.
Yeah, I agree.
I just got a sign on the screen saying my internet connection is unstable.
Are we cutting out on you, Gary?
No?
No?
Well, then the message went away, so.
Okay. Hi, Vicki.
Hi, Vicki.
We're about to jump off.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'll send out the recording now. Vicki had told me she was going to be late tonight.
Okay. All right. Awesome, guys. Thank you for jumping on.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Really quick, just so that everyone knows, that list of high yielding questions is pinned to the top of the Hearts for Health Facebook page. So if you haven't seen there, it's at the very top. If you go into Facebook, the Hearts for Health Facebook group, that list of high yielding questions is at the top there.
Yeah, I saw that because I couldn't remember the number to get on tonight. And so I went out to the Facebook and there was a high yielding questions thing, but it wasn't the number. So I looked over. I don't remember where I did find it, but I finally came. Oh, I know. I scrolled on down and saw the announcement of the first one. That's where I got it. So I've got it written down over here now, so I won't have that problem next time.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys. Good night.
All right. Nice seeing you.